The exchange program. The Galactic University Exchange Program had seemed like a brilliant idea when Administrator Zorp first proposed it. Cultural exchange between species, educational opportunities across star systems, and the chance to build lasting interstellar relationships. What could possibly go wrong? As it turned out, quite a lot. The sleek silver shuttle broke through Earth's atmosphere, its hull glowing red-hot before the thermal shields compensated. Inside, 5 alien exchange students clung to their seats with various appendages, each wondering if they had made a terrible mistake. "Approaching Earth landing zone," announced the ship's eye. "Current atmospheric conditions. Oxygen-nitrogen mix at 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen. Gravity at 9.8 meters per second squared. Temperature at landing site, 22 degrees Celsius. Radiation levels from primary star, moderate." Vexna, a Floridian from the methane seas of Triton IV, checked her breathing apparatus for the 7th time. Her translucent blue skin rippled with anxiety, the bioluminescent spots along her spine flashing warning patterns. "I still don't understand why Earth is classified as a death world," she said, her words translated through the universal communicator. "The atmospheric readings don't seem extreme." Krill, a crystalline Rigelian whose silicon-based body structure made him look like a walking gemstone sculpture, made a sound like tinkling glass, his species' equivalent of laughter. "It's not the planet that's dangerous," he said. "It's the inhabitants." Luzek, the furry Proximan with 6 limbs and excellent climbing abilities, twitched his whiskers nervously. "My research indicates humans can survive injuries that would kill most sentient species. They can regrow certain tissues, continue functioning after losing significant blood volume, and survive in temperature ranges that would liquefy or freeze most of us." "That's ridiculous," huffed Grak, the stocky Aldebaranian whose dense exoskeleton protected him from his homeworld's crushing pressure. "No species could evolve with such adaptability." The 5th passenger, Elira, a delicate Venusian whose gossamer wings were carefully folded within a protective casing, looked up from her datapad. "Actually, the reports appear accurate. Humans can break their own skeletal structures and recover. They intentionally poison themselves for recreational purposes. They can even survive having entire organs removed." The shuttle touched down with a gentle thud on the landing pad designated for them at Earth's International University, in what the natives called Colorado. Through the viewports, they could see a group of humans waiting to greet them. "Remember your protective gear," warned the ship's eye. "Earth conditions can be lethal to unprepared visitors." Each of the 5 aliens performed final checks on their life support systems. Vexna adjusted her methane converter. Krill activated his thermal regulators to prevent overheating in Earth's relatively warm environment. Luzik pulled on specialized gloves to protect against human bacteria. Grak reluctantly engaged his gravity compensators to avoid being too sluggish in Earth's lighter gravity. Elira sprayed herself with UV protective coating, concerned about Earth's direct sunlight. The airlock hissed open, and Earth's atmosphere rushed in through the filtration systems. The aliens huddled closer together, instinctively forming a defensive formation. A human stepped forward, tall by their standards, with a shocking display of exposed skin and only the thinnest coverings over certain parts of its body. Most alarmingly, it showed its teeth in what their cultural briefing had explained was called a smile. Not, as it appeared, a threat display. "Welcome to Earth," the human exclaimed, far too loudly for comfort. "I'm Professor Alex Chen, head of the Interspecies Exchange Department. We're absolutely thrilled to have you join us." The alien students exchanged nervous glances. None of them had expected such enthusiasm. "Thank you for your welcome," Vexna replied formally, her translator converting her chemical signals into human speech. "We are honored to participate in this historic exchange." Professor Chen gestured broadly, nearly causing Elira to flinch away from the sudden movement. "Let me introduce the student ambassadors who will be helping you adjust to life on Earth." 5 younger humans stepped forward, each wearing matching garments with Earth University ambassadors emblazoned across them. These students will be your guides, roommates, and teammates for the semester, Chen explained. We've matched you based on compatible interests and fields of study. Teammates, Krill asked, crystalline structure reflecting sunlight in prismatic patterns. I don't recall anything about teams in our orientation materials. Professor Chen's smile widened even further, revealing more teeth. Oh, didn't the Galactic Education Council inform you? The timing of your exchange coincides perfectly with the tri-annual Galactic Olympics. Earth is hosting for the first time. And since you'll be here for the duration, you're eligible to compete as part of our university's team. The alien students froze in collective horror. Galactic Olympics. Luzik managed to squeak. A series of competitive events showcasing the unique abilities of different species, one of the human students explained excitedly. Physical challenges, mental puzzles, survival scenarios. It's the biggest interstellar sporting event in the quadrant. And this year's theme is adaptability through adversity, added another human. With you 5 joining our team, we'll have representatives from 6 different planetary systems. No other university can match that diversity. Grak's exoskeletal plates clacked together anxiously. We were not informed of any competitive events. The Galactic Education Council probably wanted it to be a surprise, Professor Chen said, apparently oblivious to their distress. The games begin in 3 weeks, which gives us just enough time for basic training and team building. The aliens exchanged horrified glances. Basic training on a death world. Now let's get you settled into your accommodations, continued Chen, gesturing toward a cluster of buildings. We've modified them to accommodate your specific environmental needs. Tomorrow morning, we'll begin orientation and preliminary assessments for the games. As they followed the enthusiastic humans across the campus, Vexna transmitted a private chemical message to her fellow aliens. I believe we have made a terrible mistake. The first week on Earth proved their fears well-founded. The humans seemed genuinely puzzled by the aliens' physical limitations, constantly suggesting activities that would be fatal for their extraterrestrial guests. Swimming is excellent exercise, suggested Mia, Vexna's human roommate, on their 3rd day. There's a great pool in the athletic center. Water would dissolve my breathing membranes, Vexna explained patiently. Oh, right. Mia nodded. How about jogging then? The mountain trails are beautiful this time of year. The oxygen concentration would overwhelm my respiratory system, Vexna replied. And the UV radiation would damage my cellular structure. Similar conversations play out across campus as the human guides struggle to understand just how fragile their alien counterparts were. Meanwhile, the humans themselves displayed terrifying abilities. Elira watched in horror as her roommate casually sliced her finger while cooking, bleeding actual red hemoglobin-based blood, then simply placed a small adhesive strip over the wound and continued preparing food. Shouldn't you seek medical attention? Elira asked, wings fluttering anxiously within their protective case. The human looked confused. For a paper cut, it'll heal by tomorrow. Luzik discovered that his roommate regularly consumed caffeine, a substance that would stop a Proximan's heart within seconds, just to feel more alert in the morning. Krill learned that humans routinely stayed awake for 16 or more hours at a stretch, a feat that would cause permanent crystal fracturing in his species. The most disturbing revelation came during their first team meeting for the Galactic Olympics. Each competition has different events designed to showcase various species' abilities, explained Coach Martinez, a stocky human with an intimidatingly loud voice. Some events favor certain physiological traits, but the overall championship requires a balanced team effort. He projected a holographic display showing the previous games. The aliens watched footage of various species engaged in activities that seemed wildly dangerous. Races through obstacle courses with environmental hazards, strength competitions involving massive weights, endurance tests in varying atmospheric conditions. But these are all physical competitions, Grak protested. Our species aren't built for such challenges. Coach Martinez grinned, that alarming baring of teeth again. That's where you're wrong. The Olympics test all forms of ability. Yes, there are physical challenges, but there are also mental competitions, sensory tests, and adaptive problem-solving events. He touched the display, bringing up footage of previous competitions. See here. The Ecosystem Adaptation Challenge requires participants to solve problems in unfamiliar environments. And this one tests sensory perception across different wavelengths and frequencies. The aliens relaxed slightly. Perhaps this wouldn't be certain death after all. Of course, Martins continued, the final event is always the survival gauntlet, where teams navigate a specially designed course that simulates hostile planetary conditions. And there it was. Certain death, just delayed until the final event. We're going to start with basic assessments tomorrow, the coach announced cheerfully. Nothing too strenuous, just to establish baselines for your abilities so we can determine which events each of you is best suited for. That night, the 5 aliens met secretly in Krill's modified quarters, which had been reinforced to accommodate his crystalline density. We should withdraw from the exchange program, Luzik suggested, before we're forced to participate in these deadly games. The Galactic Education Council would consider that a diplomatic incident, Alira reminded them. Our homeworlds might face sanctions. Then what do we do? Vexna asked. Humans seem incapable of understanding our physical limitations. Grak had been uncharacteristically quiet, but now he spoke up. Perhaps we're approaching this incorrectly. We've been focusing on what we can't do compared to humans, but each of our species evolved unique adaptations for our home environments. What are you suggesting? Krill asked, his crystalline structure vibrating with curiosity. I'm suggesting, Grak replied slowly, that instead of trying to compete like humans, we find ways to use our own unique abilities. After all, the Olympics are supposed to showcase species diversity, not force everyone to compete on human terms. The others considered this. It was true. Each of them possessed capabilities that humans lacked. Vexnay could sense chemical compositions with extraordinary precision. Krill's crystalline body could refract and process light in ways organic beings couldn't comprehend. Luzik's 6 limbs and climbing abilities might prove useful in certain contexts. Grak's exoskeleton provided protection against impacts that would severely injure humans, and Alira's wings, though delicate, gave her unparalleled spatial awareness. Tomorrow, Vexna decided, when they assess our abilities, we'll show them what we can really do. The next morning, the assessment sessions began. Coach Martins and his team had set up various stations to test strength, speed, endurance, sensory perception, and problem-solving abilities. As the aliens had feared, they performed dismally in the physical tests. Even with gravity compensators, Grak moved at a fraction of human speed. Vexnay couldn't lift even the lightest weights. Krill overheated after just minutes of exertion. Luzak, despite his extra limbs, lacked the muscular density for tasks humans found simple. Alira couldn't even attempt most physical challenges without risking damage to her delicate structure. But then came the specialized tests. Vexna, when presented with a chemical analysis challenge, identified compounds with 99.8% accuracy, far beyond human capability. Krill, in a light-based puzzle, performed calculations by refracting light through his body that would have taken the university's quantum computers hours to solve. Luzek navigated a 3-dimensional maze using all 6 limbs with flawless precision. Grak demonstrated problem-solving abilities under pressure that astounded the human testers. And Alira, when finally allowed to extend her wings in a controlled environment, displayed sensing abilities that could detect air current changes imperceptible to human instruments. The human coaches and students watched in growing amazement as the aliens demonstrated their unique capabilities. At the end of the day, Coach Martinez gathered the team together, his expression thoughtful. I think, he said slowly, we've been thinking about this all wrong. We've been trying to train you to compete like humans, when we should be figuring out how to leverage your natural abilities." The alien students exchanged surprised glances. Perhaps humans were capable of adaptation after all. "The Galactic Olympics begin in 2 weeks," Martinez continued. "And I believe we have just enough time to develop a new strategy, one that plays to all our strengths, not just human ones." The Galactic Contest. The day of the Galactic Olympics dawned clear and bright over Earth's International University. The campus had been transformed overnight, with colorful banners representing participating planets and species fluttering in the gentle breeze. Temporary atmospheric domes dotted the landscape, providing safe environments for competitors from various worlds. In the Earth University team's preparation area, nervousness had reached an all-time high. "I still don't understand why we're wearing these," complained Luzik, adjusting the bright blue and white uniform that had been specially modified to accommodate his 6 limbs. Coach Martinez clapped a hand on Luzik's shoulder, gently, having learned after 2 weeks of training just how much pressure the Proximan could tolerate. "Team unity," the coach explained. "It's a human tradition. Besides, the adaptive fabric helps regulate your body temperature." Vexna adjusted her breathing apparatus, which had been streamlined and integrated into her uniform. "I must admit, your engineers have made impressive modifications to our protective gear. I no longer feel like I'm wearing a small shuttle." The past 2 weeks had seen remarkable progress. Once the human coaches had stopped trying to train the aliens like humans and instead focused on their unique abilities, true collaboration had begun to emerge. The aliens, in turn, had gained a new appreciation for human adaptability and problem-solving. "The opening ceremony begins in 30 minutes, announced Mia, checking her communicator. The stands are already filled with spectators from 17 different worlds. Alira's wings fluttered nervously inside their new, transparent protective casing, a significant improvement over her previous heavy shield. So many beings watching. I didn't anticipate such an audience. "The Galactic Olympics are a big deal," explained Tyler, Krill's roommate. "This is the first time Earth has hosted, so there's extra interest. Plus, our team is making history as the first to feature human and non-human competitors working together instead of separately." Coach Martinez gathered them all into a circle, humans and aliens together. "Listen up, team. We've worked hard for this moment. Remember the strategy. Play to your strengths, cover for each other's weaknesses, and most importantly, adapt and overcome." The team finished in unison, a phrase that had become their motto over the intense training period. The opening ceremony was a dazzling display of interstellar pageantry. Teams from 12 universities across the galaxy paraded into the main arena, each representing different worlds and species. The Earth University team entered last, as the host competitors. A collective murmur rose from the crowd as they noticed the mixed team of humans and aliens marching together. "Most teams have segregated their competitors by species," Grack observed, his exoskeletal plates shifting in what the humans had learned was an expression of surprise. "That's not how we do things," replied Coach Martinez with a wink. The first day of competition featured preliminary rounds in various categories. The Earth team had strategically entered their competitors into events that matched their natural abilities, a radical departure from the traditional approach of having each species compete only in standardized events. Vexna dominated the chemical analysis challenge, her natural ability to detect and identify compounds giving Earth an early lead. Krill's crystalline structure proved invaluable in the light-based communication event, where competitors had to transmit complex messages using only photonic signals. The humans excelled in the physical endurance challenges, their remarkable stamina surprising even their alien teammates. By the end of the first day, Earth University sat in 3rd place overall, a position that shocked the other teams, who had largely dismissed the mixed species approach as doomed to failure. "We're actually doing it," Alira said wonderingly as they gathered in their team area that evening. "We're competitive." "Don't sound so surprised," laughed Sophia, one of the human students. "That was the plan all along." The second day brought greater challenges. The adaptive problem-solving event required teams to navigate unfamiliar environments while solving complex puzzles. Here, the human-alien collaboration truly shined. When faced with a high-gravity zone that slowed the humans, Grak, who was accustomed to much higher gravity on his homeworld, took the lead. When toxic atmospheric conditions appeared, Vexna's expertise with breathing apparatus helped the entire team adjust their equipment properly. Most surprising was the three-dimensional spatial navigation challenge. The humans had assumed Luzek would excel here with his climbing abilities and 6 limbs. But it was the combination of Luzek's physical skills and Alira's extraordinary spatial awareness that proved unbeatable. Directing him through a complex maze that she could perceive through subtle air currents against her wings, they completed the course in record time. By the evening of the second day, Earth University had climbed to second place, behind only the defending champions from Centauri Prime University. One day left, Coach Martinez told them during their strategy session. Tomorrow features the specialized knowledge events in the morning. And then, the survival gauntlet, finished Vexna solemnly. The gauntlet was the most dreaded event, a complex course that simulated extreme conditions from various worlds. Teams had to navigate from start to finish, overcoming obstacles that tested every aspect of their abilities. It was worth triple points and could completely reshape the final standings. "We've prepared as best we can," Martin said. "Get some rest tonight. Tomorrow we'll test everything we've learned together." That night, none of the alien students slept well. Despite their growing confidence, the prospect of the gauntlet loomed large in their minds. They had heard stories of competitors being injured or even killed in previous games. Morning brought the specialized knowledge competitions, where Krill's mathematical abilities and the human students' creative problem-solving gave Earth additional points. But everyone's thoughts were on the afternoon's final challenge. When they gathered at the starting line for the survival gauntlet, the team fell silent, surveying the course before them. It stretched for 3 kilometers, passing through environmental domes that simulated conditions from various worlds, including sections mimicking the home planets of each alien species. "They've never designed a course this complex before," muttered one of the Centauri Prime competitors, loud enough to be overheard. "They're testing the whole adaptability theme to destruction." Coach Martinez gathered the Earth team for final instructions. "Remember your training. This course is designed to have sections where each of you has an advantage. Use it, and most importantly, work together. That's our edge." The starting signal echoed across the arena, and the teams surged forward. The first section featured Earth-like conditions, allowing the human competitors to take an early lead. They faced obstacles requiring strength and endurance, climbing walls, crossing water features, navigating dense vegetation. The aliens struggled here, relying heavily on their modified protective gear. But then came a section that simulated Triton Ivy's methane lakes. Here, Vexna moved with unexpected grace, guiding her teammates through toxic zones that would have been lethal without her expertise. Next was a crystalline maze that refracted light in complex patterns, blinding most competitors, but posing no challenge to Krill, who led them through with perfect confidence. The team encountered a vertical climbing segment designed to test proximate agility, where Luzek carried equipment for the others. A high-pressure chamber that would have crushed unprotected visitors became Grak's moment to shine. And when they reached a zone filled with air currents too subtle for most species to detect, Alira's wings sensed the safe path forward. Throughout it all, the humans demonstrated their remarkable adaptability, adjusting quickly to each new environment and helping coordinate the team's efforts. What they lacked in specialized abilities, they made up for in versatility and determination. The final stretch returned to Earth-like conditions, a brutal uphill climb under the full heat of the simulated sun. The humans took the lead again, but noticed their alien teammates falling behind, their life support systems strained to their limits by the extended exertion. Without a word, the human students turned back. Tyler and Mia supported Krill, whose crystalline structure was overheating dangerously. Sophia helped adjust Vexna's failing breathing apparatus. 2 others assisted Luzik, whose limbs had begun to tremble with exhaustion, and the team captain carefully monitored Alira's vital signs, making minute adjustments to her protective casing. They crossed the finish line together, not first, but as a complete team. The crowd fell silent, then erupted in thunderous applause that transcended species barriers. When the final points were tallied, Earth University had taken 2nd place overall, the highest placement ever for a first-time host. But they had won something more valuable: the newly created Adaptive Excellence Award, recognizing the team that best embodied the game's theme of adaptability through adversity. At the closing ceremony, the 5 alien exchange students stood proudly alongside their human teammates. Gone was the fear that had gripped them upon arrival. In its place was something none of them had expected to find on this death world: a deep appreciation for the remarkable species that called Earth home. Professor Chen found them after the medals were distributed. "Well done, all of you. The Galactic Education Council is calling the exchange program an unqualified success. They're already talking about expanding it next year." "I would be interested in returning," Vexna said, surprising even herself. "There is much more to learn about humans." "And Earth," added Krill, his crystalline structure gleaming with new facets, physical evidence of the growth he had experienced. Luzik flexed his 6 limbs thoughtfully. "Perhaps we could host human students on our worlds next. It seems only fair they should experience our environments as we have experienced theirs." The human students exchanged alarmed glances, suddenly understanding exactly how their alien counterparts had felt upon arrival. "Don't worry," Grak said, his exoskeletal plates shifting in what they now recognized as the Aldebaranian equivalent of a smile. "We'll make appropriate accommodations. After all, we've learned from the best adapters in the galaxy." Alira extended her wings fully within their protective casing, a gesture of trust she would never have considered 3 weeks earlier. It seems the reputation of Earth as a death world was not entirely accurate. "Oh no," corrected Tyler with a laugh. "Earth absolutely is a death world by galactic standards. The difference is that humans don't see it that way. We don't see challenges as threats," explained Nia. "We see them as opportunities to adapt and grow stronger." As the celebration continued around them, the 5 alien students contemplated this strange human philosophy. They had come to Earth expecting to find a hostile planet inhabited by terrifying creatures. Instead, they had discovered that the most remarkable adaptation humans possessed wasn't their physical resilience or their ability to survive extreme conditions. It was their capacity to turn disadvantages into strengths, not just for themselves, but for others as well. And that, perhaps, was the most valuable lesson of all.